Why is a guru so important when it comes to spiritual ascension?
So, very significant, very important question. A guru, a teacher, a guide, who is spiritually, had training. I can explain this better with a story. Once upon a time, there was a very famous, very powerful king. And a good king, very nice. His people were happy. He took care of them. And he had a son. And the son was being raised like a prince, and he was taught all the, skills of a warrior and stuff, and the, sanskaras of compassion and, helping others. And now he was a youth. And one day, the king made him the crown prince, that he will inherit the throne now. When that happened, this crown prince, the prince went to his father and said, when you crown me as a king, there'll be too many responsibilities, I'll have to take care. I would have no personal life. So before that happens, if you permit me, I want to travel and see different places. And the king was very happy because it gives him perspective to see how other kingdoms are doing, and, he can learn from them. So he says, yeah, son, go travel. So it took a lot of, money in terms of gold and jewelry, a few horses, and he set on his journey. And he started enjoying. He went to one place and from one place to another and to another, stayed there for some time, saw places, learned about them, moved on, kept on going, kept on. Months passed away, a year went away. Slowly, the money started becoming lesser and lesser. But he didn't care. He was enjoying so much, he kept going further and further away. And one day, everything was gone. He was left with a few horses. He started selling the horses. One day, the last horse was also gone. And now, there was nothing left. And he was far away from home. And there was no way of communicating, So, a few days went by, but now he started becoming hungry. He had no place to kind of rest or sleep. So now he was forced to find a job. He had no skills except he was strongly built. And so he saw there was a big building like a palace being constructed. So he found the job as a laborer. So he started making money a little bit, enough to survive, to buy food and have a roof over the head at night. And it went on. One day this whole building was constructed, construction was finished. Then he moved on to another place, found another construction, found a job there as a laborer. And a few years passed away like this. His hair grew longer. His appearance as a prince completely changed. And slowly he lost hope that he'll ever go. And he accepted his fate. And started believing that this is his life. He's a laborer and this is how he's living. But back home, the king now was missing his son. This is about for him to come back home. So he called his wisest minister. He said, bring my son back to me. He has to come and take his rightful place here. And I miss him. And the minister was very wise. So he said, okay, leave it to me. So he got few of the fastest horsemen and sent them in all directions. He says, go find him. But he gave a condition that if you find him, don't talk to him, just come back and tell me. So they set out in all directions. And after some time, one of them found him, looked distinctly So, and the minister said, okay, I'll go. And the minister went there and he saw him working as a laborer. He waited till he finished his work. When he had finished his work, this minister approached him. And this, prince looked at him, a very well-dressed man, he says, who are you? And the minister says, not important who I am first. Do you know who you are? He says, yeah, I'm a laborer, I work here. He says, what if I told you you're not a laborer? You're a prince. Your father is a very powerful king. He misses you. He wants you to come home. He says, but I don't know where he is. He says, that's why I'm here. Take my hand, come with me, and I'll take you to your father and to your real home. And the role of a guru is that of this minister. We are all living in our lives like laborers, toiling, going through things here, there, and struggling and thinking that we are not able to do anything. We have limitations. Whereas a guru comes in your life and he reminds you, no, you're not a laborer. You are the son of a king. And he takes your hand and guides you through the whole journey to go meet that higher self. So this is the role of a guru. When a guru comes in your life, he does nothing else except guide you on a path, because this is a path where he has walked already. He knows the obstacles. He knows the challenges. And he helps you not just to overcome them, but prevent you from falling down. And he takes you to home, to your father, the higher self. And that is the whole role of spirituality. So without a guru, it's almost close to impossible to do that.
This is going to be a great one for all the Marvel fans out there. But what is the multiverse, and does the multiverse exist, Sanjeevji?
So you can call it multiverse. In spirituality, you may call different dimensions. Do they exist? Yes, they do. But as a lot of people understand this concept of maybe these multiverses or different dimensions are in air somewhere, get into a rocket and go there, or you have to travel, be there. But to understand the effect of these dimensions or the multiverses is to understand, say for example, in this room where we are sitting, right? There are radio waves of so many radio stations. But can your radio play more than one or several of those stations at one time? You cannot. So you have to tune the radio with the tuner so this frequency matches to the frequency of this radio station. It'll play the music there. Similarly, all these dimensions are present, this multiverse is present right here, all around us. It's just that our tuner is tuned to this dimension that we are living in. And in spirituality and Brhamanda Yoga, as you kind of understand these frequencies and you're able to kind of connect to higher frequencies, then you are able to connect to these different dimensions and different multiverses. So it is not existing at some place that you have to travel and get out of this. No. It is all about my frequency of my brain waves, of my thoughts, which will connect me to any dimension I want. But you need to learn how to do that. It's just not going to happen by itself. Right? So, and that's where the teachings, the practices of Brhamanda Yoga are very, very useful, very helpful. So it is not now about experiencing them. You understand?
Yeah. Because essentially what you're saying is, even to reach that which is basically unreachable to the logic mind, we have to think beyond physics, think beyond what we know as 3D.
So when you talk about physics, Ali, what we are talking about, the Newtonian principles and this, but we already know that these principles have been quashed by the quantum physics. Quantum physics pretty much agrees to what we say in our spirituality.
Sanjeevji, how do the sun and the moon affect us astrologically? How is it that we can make them beneficial for us?
So let's kind of make it clear for everybody. This All this affects all of us, right? But there are certain people who believe in astrology, the influence of planets on us, and some who don't. But the fact again is like these principles are the principles of physics. Say, for example, whether I believe in gravity or don't believe in gravity, gravity is going to work on me. Similarly, the influence of sun and moon and other planets is very significant on us. So the sun and the moon have the biggest influence. Say, for example, because sun is the most powerful, is the nurturer of the entire solar system, at the center, the heart of the solar system. And moon being very close to us. So sometimes, people go to astrologer and they say, oh, your sun is weak in your horoscope, or your moon is weak in your horoscope. And they will then suggest different ways, wear a particular stone or a gem, or do this or do that. Those things work to smaller extent. But if we understand the relationship, how these planets have a relationship with us and the people around us, we can change the influence of these planets on us in a very significant manner. Now, according to what we say in the scriptures in Brhamanda Yoga, the sun has a relationship with the person, say you, with your father. If your relationship with your father is not good, then the sun in your horoscope will be weak. And instead of doing all these things, small little kind of methods, to change the influence, it's better to just work on your relationship with your father. Respect your father. Express your gratitude that even he's not been good to you. Even then, he has given you a life. You owe that to him. You owe it to him to take care of him when he is needed. You owe it to him that you respect him. It's not to benefit him. It is for your own benefit. And if you just do this, definitely the influence of the sun on you will change drastically. You'll start having, more impact on your life. Say, for example, when the effect of sun is weak in your horoscope, it basically takes away your illumination, your fame, your glory, your respect in the society. These things are all related to your sun. And on the other hand, if your sun is stronger, then you are more illuminated, you are stronger. People are impressed by your energy. You have more respect, you have more credibility in this world. So it is very, very significant to improve the effect of sun in your life, and that can be done by changing your relationship with your father. And some people would say, oh, my father has passed away. That's okay. Then you sit in a meditation and a prayer. And if you have been not doing right things with your father, ask for forgiveness. Send him blessings. Send him healing. You can improve your relationship with your ancestors. And by doing this, you will change the influence of the planet sun in your horoscope and in your life. Similarly now, the planet moon is connected to your mother. Now, if you do not have a good relationship with your mother, the moon effect will become weaker. Similarly now, work hard to improve your relationship with your mother. A lot of people say, oh, my mother was very bad to me when I was younger, or like she doesn't treat me well. That's her karma. You take care of your own side. Again, not to benefit her, but more to benefit yourself, and she will benefit too. That if you give her more respect, who would not be happy? If you treat her well, who would not be happy? So you're not only making your mother or your father happy, but you are hugely benefiting yourself. And if your influence of sun and moon in your horoscope and in your life improves, to a large extent, the effects of some of the other planets becomes lesser. So you are kind of enhancing your kind of astrological chart, your horoscope chart, if you just doing these two simple things, respecting and taking care of your mother and father, improving your relationships with them. So very easy, very simple thing, but the benefits in your life are huge.
So would the same apply to, let's say, people who have never met their mother or father, and let's say they took a lot of care of whoever it was that was their guardian after that, right? Let's say they got adopted. Um, would that also apply, that sewa to that parent? Would that apply as well?
Doesn't matter. Like if your parents, you never even met them, but you know they gave birth to you.
Okay, so it's only the biological parents that it'll.
But then if there are another set of parents who take care of you, do the same for them as well.
Right. It'll affect the sun and the moon.
Absolutely.
How does the suffering of the souls of our ancestors affect us?
That's a great question. And to say that, like, it does affect us, and that is why we, on a regular basis, do ascension of our ancestors. Do meditate for that. And with the help of a guru, we release our ancestors from suffering. But now if I said that, Ali, did you see your grandfather? Right? Did you see your great-grandfather?
Yeah.
You saw him. You met him.
No, I saw a picture. Yeah.
What about his father?
No.
You don't even know what he looks like, right? No. But you saw the picture of your great-grandfather, you said. But do you know that your great-grandfather and his father, they're alive and breathing within you at this moment? Because when we are born, we getting genes from our parents, and their parents got it from their parents, and so on. And the genes are live entities, right? They are molecules, atoms, but they are alive. That's why they are producing changes within you. And you're carrying the genes from 7 generations above. And now your great-grandfather, his father may not be here. You may not have seen them, but their genes are alive within you at this very moment. So you have that connection even at a physical level with them, although they are in a different dimension. Whether they have moved on, they have been liberated, they've gone on with the journey, or they are stuck somewhere. But if they're stuck and they're suffering, that suffering is coming to you and you do not understand why it's happening. Why is the suffering coming? It is because your ancestors, some of them may be stuck in some dimensions and they are going through a very bad time. So they're suffering. We say sometimes, the ancestors require what we call a yatana sharir, a body of suffering. And it's very difficult for them to be liberated till somebody comes along in the lineage and learns from a guru, with the help of a guru, with the healing, they liberate them. So in our Brhamanda Yoga, it's a very important practice. Time to time, we do ascension of our ancestors. So if they are released, all of a sudden people find, oh, that problem that I had is gone. Because they were facing that problem because of the suffering of their ancestors. So not only you're linked to the 7 generations above, you're linked to the 7 generations yet to come.
If that ancestor is suffering and their suffering is leading to our suffering as well, does that mean that their bad karma is being increased because their karmic residue is hitting us? Does that mean that? And until they're liberated and we can help them ascend, this cycle won't stop?
So yes, it will, but I'm saying that just because their karma is affecting our lives currently they are acquiring more bad karma. No, simply because this concept of karma is related only and only till you have a physical body. Once you do not have a physical body, there is, or even if you have in an animal kind of body, it's not going to happen. Karma is given to the human beings only who are alive. So no, they will not acquire anymore. But they will be stuck because of their past other karmas, their previous karmas. And that's why we do this ascension of ancestors so that they're liberated.
You've told me stories before of certain amazing feats, like such as some yogis that were able to go days and like many days without drinking or eating, and just purely live off of light. Can you explain how that is? Even like can't even fathom that. Can you explain this concept and how that's possible?
So again, it is about, first of all, believing in what I'm experiencing in my physical third world dimension, right? And then going to the higher practices. Say, for example, I eat food today. So why? Because we believe that food brings me nutrition. And now it has been classified, made so complicated. You have to have carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, or God knows how many vitamins, elements, all the stuff. You are looking at food as just this instrument. Whereas in our spiritual practice, we look at food as a source of prana. We haven't talked about this concept of prana, the life force energy that's keeping me alive, all the animals, plants alive around. So when we eat certain kinds of food or vegetables, they all have different kind of pranas. So we, in a spiritual path, we say that I am acquiring prana, right? From these plants or some people who eat meat. But let me ask you a question. So I am taking prana from, or even say nutrients from a plant. It's coming from a tree, or apple or a vegetable coming from a tree. Where is the tree and the apple getting the nutrients from? Or the prana from? Tell me.
Photosynthesis. The sun, air, water.
So primary source of that food is also air and photosynthesis and the sunlight, which is all around you. And if you bypass this whole thing and go to the source, and you learn how to just tap the same prana, the same energy, directly from the source rather than the byproducts, you can live off the light. But again, it's not going to happen easily. You need the right guidance, the right guru. And again, but it's again, what do you want? See, why it was done by many yogis earlier were because the yogis would go to very remote areas to meditate. See, when you go on top of a mountain in the Himalayas, there's no food there. So they had to learn how to do this. Another reason why the siddhas or the saints used to go on the mountains is because, as we saw that pranayams, prana-kriyas are very important, we know there is a lack of oxygen. And because there is a lack of oxygen, to get the right amount of oxygen in your body, you automatically have to breathe very deep. You try do this deep breathing for some time, you're going into a meditative state already. So there were different reasons for the yogis and the siddhas to do this. They never did it against, as we said in the previous questions, that to show off. There were reasons for doing these, and the right reasons were like useful.
Sanjeevji, science has recently discovered the God particle, right? And my question is that it seems that yogis knew about this for many thousands of years already. What I want to know is, from a yogic perspective, what is this God particle and its significance?
That's a very interesting question. The God particle, as we commonly know, is also known in physics as the Higgs boson, right? So, and this was discovered in Switzerland, in CERN, a place called CERN. There's this huge tunnel accelerator. So, what they found is very interesting. But before we go into that, how this discovery was taken by the scientist who did it. So if you go to that center where this CERN, in the CERN, where this accelerator is there, you go into their lobby, they have a huge statue of Nataraja, the posture, the form of Shiva in the dancing pose, where we call the dance of Shiva. And what is the dance of Shiva? Means that the construction and destruction is constantly happening. It's not that once something is constructed and later on is destructed. So now, taking further the science that we learned from this the Higgs boson particle or the God particle, is that if we have kind of learned so much in the quantum physics, the string theory, and now we have discovered with this kind of using all these learnings that this whole universe is in a constant state of destruction and construction, and it's kind of so merged together that you cannot separate it from each other. And that's what is also we in spiritually call the dance of Shiva, the Shiv Tandava, the dance of Shiva, where construction and destruction is constantly happening. So very much connected. And as we say, as we are progressing more and more in quantum science, we are seeing that, we are learning that these principles of the universe are exactly the same as that in spirituality. I'll give you another example. There was a mathematician during the British time. He was in India. His name was Ramanujam. And he had no formal training in mathematics. But he was discovered by a British mathematician, and his mind was just blown that how is he kind of writing these equations? And he made him go to Oxford in England and got him fought with people, like, or they would not accept an Indian person or like who has no training. But he made him a professor there. And he kept on doing his work non-stop. And at that time, they did not even understood the relevance of his equations, of his mathematics. But later on when he died very young. He was sick. Almost more than half of what we see in this universe in our physical science is based upon his equations. The whole concept of black holes is based upon Ramanujam's equations. So as we are progressing, and when he was asked, how you have no training, where are these equations coming from? He says, I don't know. I have Goddess Saraswati within me, and she keeps on giving it to me, and I write them. So there is a healthy connection of our expanding and newer learnings in sciences, which connects us and proves that this we knew spiritually long time ago. So there is coming a connection now.
Why are so many people who call themselves healers, how are they getting sick? Why do they get sick at all?
You have to understand the concept of healing and the people who are doing healing. And I have met many of them. They're great people. Their desire to help people is immense. They are very passionate about their work, their healing, and they really want to help people. But if you look at most of them had no training or any learning from a guru. Most of them would say that I have this inborn ability that I can heal people. And it's possible because of their past lives, their past karma. So they're not understanding the concept of karma and the outcome of karma. And secondly, even though they're good people, but their ego comes in between that I want to heal people. I am a good person. I have been given. And when you do a healing with the ego, and also now you are trying to heal the outcome of a particular karma a person was facing, you are becoming a part of that karmic effect with that person. So they become a part of the other person's karma and their outcomes. So they are taking the effect of so many people's karma. That's one aspect. Second aspect is that they are somehow using their own energy to heal someone. And when you do that, you only have a limited amount of energy within you.
Right.
And that's why so many healers would say that, oh, I will not do healing to more than 2 or 3 or 4 people in a day. And then they are exhausted themselves. So a combination of these two factors, that first is ego, second is that they do not understand the concept of karma and the outcome, why this person sitting in front of them is suffering. And you're interfering at a place where you become a part of their karma and the outcome of their karma. So they are catching on the sufferings of so many people and then depleting themselves of their own energy. So the sufferings come to them. And I have seen some healers in a very bad state. And I tried my best. I did work with some of the healers. And when they worked with me, understanding the concept, number one, first of all, they started getting better themselves. And second was that now they started doing healing in a different way, that they are not becoming a part of the karmic outcomes of the people they are healing. So it is unfortunate there are so many good people, doing so much good work, but suffering themselves. And that's what not spirituality is about. Spirituality is about when you help somebody, instead of you going down, you should ascend.
Sanjeevji, you were mentioning Soant, the concept of Soant in our last podcast. You briefly touched on it, but what I wanted to know, actually, it got me thinking, is can sadhana unlock Soant-like capabilities in us?
My question back to you would be, why would you want to know?
Right.
Tell me, why would you want to know?
Who doesn't want to be like super and gifted and be able to compose art like nobody else or whatever? It's something like that's basic. It's like a ego's desire.
So then our suggestion is that don't do sadhana.
Yeah.
Go learn magic. It'll be kind of more useful, make you more popular. Thing is that the answer to that question is yes. But it is not our purpose of that. I said, no, who doesn't want? We don't want. Why? Because when you get these kind of, benefits or powers, and if you focus on them, you take your awareness on them, your progress is gone. Now you're caught up by these. That's why I said you don't want to show these powers to others, to show that Ali is doing sadhana. That's why I said go learn magic. You will do it much faster and you get more popularity. Why do sadhana? To get our goal of our sadhana is spiritual growth, and one day go to our final destination, and that is self-realization. That is aham brahmasmi shivoham shivoham. That is our goal. We are not focusing at all on these powers. And that's why when you're working with a guru, he may find that because of your sadhana, you are getting some extraordinary powers. They're walking behind you, but he will not tell you. Because he knows that you will be distracted, you'll be caught into them. And your growth, your progress will stop there. So yes, you will get them, to your question. But do we want them? or to know about them? No.
Yeah.
So once we are kind of still in the state of, the trigunas, like, sataguna, rajoguna, tamaguna, we will be caught up in these. It's only when you reach to a higher state of nirguna, then you're not affected. Then you are, because you will not use them to display your powers or magic. I'll give you an example. An old story. In old days, there was this guru, very highly kind of, evolved. And he would teach new sadhanas, meditations to his, disciples. There were a handful of disciples living in his ashram. And one day he says, I have to go meet another saint, and my guru, I have to travel far. I'll be gone for a few months. I'm giving you sadhana, do the sadhana and see what you can, how you can grow yourself, make stronger and evolve higher. And he left. And there was one disciple, overeager, like you are asking this question. And he worked hard. And after a few months, when the guru returned, he asked everybody, did you do it? As everybody said, yes. So this disciple said, Guru, I want to show you how I've achieved some powers with this sadhana that you gave me. He says, what? So there was a big, like a display kind of a, thing, heavy wood, made of heavy wood, lot of, books and stuff. I call it a bookshelf, heavy one, old one. Scriptures and books lying heavy on that. And not moved for a long time, lying in one corner of the ashram. And he took his guru that says, watch. And this disciple closed his eyes and focused. And then as he moved his head, the big heavy bookcase also moved with this. And now he looked at his guru, see, I've got this power. And the guru was upset. He says, this powerful sadhana that I gave you, you used to move this bookcase a few inches. And to achieve that, you could have asked the other disciples, to move it a few inches like in 20 minutes. But you wasted 3 minutes, 3 months, and this powerful sadhana to do this. Completely wasted. So this is the whole objective of not worrying about these things, not focusing on these things, and not even testing. Things will automatically change as you do sadhana. As your karma is relieved, your life will enhance anyhow as you evolve.
Sanjeevji, should we be following all these rituals in our spiritual life? Are rituals a must?
It depends upon you.
Okay.
Right? So what do you want in your life? There are so many priests and other, will tell you, do this, you have to follow this ritual. If you don't, particularly somebody say, like in India, say, or you cannot have more than 2 Shivalingas at home, or you cannot have a Shivalinga at home, or you have to put water on it, or milk on it, or it faces this direction, that direction. And if you believe in it, you will have to follow them. It is like, say, for example, it is your relationship with that higher power. I'll give you an example. There is a judge in a courtroom, right? Highly respected. And when he enters the courtroom, everybody stands up. When he says, sit down, sit down. You have to ask for permission to speak. You have to follow all the rules. And if he's upset, because you know that if he's upset, he can send you to the jail. And so you have to treat him that. So you're entering the courtroom, you're treating the judge the way the judge is. You have to follow all the rules of the courthouse and the judge. But the same judge, when he goes home, his young child who's playing in the dirt jumps in his lap in his white clothes and dirties him up. Like he's not saying like in the courtroom, the people address your honor, you're this. Oh, he's just like dad and he messes up, he plays. Does the judge get mad or happy with his son?
Yeah, happy, yeah.
So if the relationship that you have created with your God is that of a judge who's constantly judging you, then you have to follow all the rules of the rituals and everything. But if your relationship with your father is like a father and son, then where are the rules? Do whatever you want to do and have this love and that connection. No harm will ever come to you. So you choose what relationship you have with your God or the higher one, and that'll determine whether you should follow the rituals or you should not follow the rituals.
Wow. That's a great answer. How is it that we can convince this logic mind of ours to believe in something that is beyond our five senses?
So, a good question. The only way of, because believe that, say, Ali, believe in something, just like that. And you say, okay, because it's coming from Sanjeev, I should believe it. Wrong. We do not do that in Brhamanda Yoga. So the only and only way to believe in something that's beyond your five senses is experience. Now, say, for example, you're sitting here. Do you believe in gravity? Have you sensed gravity by your senses, five senses ever?
No.
No. If I told you, Ali, believe in gravity, you say, I don't believe in it. But if I took you out, make you jump from a tree or a wall or a fence, and make you experience that gravity is pulling you down towards the earth, it's a belief. Now, right behind you on this wall, there are so many wires running with electricity. Now, can your five senses, by sitting here, can you feel that electricity? And if I told you, Ali, there is electricity in this, so I don't know. But I make you touch a live wire just once. You will believe for the rest of your life that there is electricity. So in Brhamanda Yoga, this is what we do. When we talk about these things, we're making so many videos. Yes, it's good to learn that. But we still say, don't believe me. And in Brhamanda Yoga, that's why we don't not only just talk about give wisdom, but we help you experience everything we are saying. And that's how, we're talking that we're planning this workshop, that to help people experience what we are saying. So anything that is beyond our five senses must be experienced, must be brought into our experience, so that I don't need anybody to tell me. That's why I say in spirituality, a lot of people say, money is not good. It doesn't bring you happiness. It doesn't bring you joy. Only spiritual connection is more joyful. Now somebody is telling you. And then you kind of give up the material world, but your desire is still left. But in Brhamanda Yoga, we say, no, go out, be successful, make money. Experience the material world, but also do sadhana and raise yourself. And then you don't need a priest or somebody or a wise person to tell you that where your happiness is coming from. You experience it yourself, that I'm getting more happiness and joy from my sadhana, my spiritual growth, or I'm getting more joy and happiness from my material world. It is in your own experience. So that is why your own experience beyond these five senses is so much more important.
Sanjeevji, what is non-duality?
So, in the ancient scriptures, there are three kind of ideologies or philosophies that were put forward. And there are people who follow them. First is monoism. Second is dualism. And the third is non-duality. And non-duality is, which has been more widely accepted, and we also in Brhamanda Yoga, we follow the principles of non-duality. To understand non-duality, we should understand monism and dualism also. So this whole process is about relationship of your soul with your higher self, right? call him God, which if you want. In monoism, it says the soul and your higher self is one. Dualism says your soul is separate and your higher self is separate. Whereas in non-duality, it's a little complicated, so be careful listening to. In non-duality says your soul and your higher self are not two. Means if they said they are two, it becomes duality. But if you say it's one, because they are not two, then it becomes monoism. But it's none. Means that if you go deeper to understanding is that the soul and your higher self appear to be separate, but they are not separate. So this whole process of spirituality, of Brhamanda Yoga, to experience that in ourselves, that although we appear as separate, if I told you, no, you are higher self and, you have those powers and this and that, so no, I've never experienced it. Because in your mind, you are experiencing the state of non-duality. So this is why non-duality is most widely accepted and definitely in Brhamanda Yoga. And through our practices of prana kriyas, meditations, as we remove our negative karmas and we ascend, our consciousness rises, we slowly start experiencing this. And one day we experience this fully is the state when we call Aham Brahmasmi, Shivoham, Shivoham, I am that. For our upcoming workshop, we'll be posting the link in the description soon. We will also pin it in the comment of this video. And we will also share it in the community tab. And to watch our previous podcasts, click here.